Alright, Trekkies and Trekkers, time to take a look at the final episode of the day, which is looking for Parmok in all the wrong places. Quark is in the habitat ring when he sees Julie and Bashir trying to eavesdrop on the O'Briens, apparently wanting to meet up, but hear an argument take place. Quark rips him a little and then takes him down the hall a bit where he can hear. Describing a big argument, Bashir is disappointed, but the Keiko O'Brien comes down from the hall. She was not in the room. Quark explains that Kira and Reese is in there. The argument is that Miles O'Brien is trying to force Kira to take it easy on her body while she's carrying his child. Meanwhile, Josiah texts Worf and the Ripple discussing Barakadan, a singer of Klingon opera when Grelka, Quark's ex-wife, shows up on Deep Space Nine. Her intentions are unknown. Worf is smitten as soon as he sees her and gets up to observe her. Grelka comes to Quark's and, to Worf's surprise and dismay, she is quite friendly with Quark. Dax recognizes her and explains she is Quark's ex-wife. Quark offers Grelka a Marparian ale and asks her why she's there. Grelka mentions that her great house, the House of Grelka, has suffered significant financial losses of late due to the war between Starfleet and the Klingons, but she doesn't ask for help. Her Klingons do not drain themselves with filthy ledgers and bank accounts. Taking the hint, Quark asks to look at her financial records. As Klingons leave, however, Grelka's guard, Thopak, threatens him to ensure he helps her. He helps her as she planned. The two of them spend a great deal of time together, and they generally seem interested in one another. Worf and Dax head to Ops while she explains what happened between them. As surprising as to say for Quark and his unworthiness of her, Dax supposes Worf is kids of Parmok. Jokingly, Bashir Sisko asks if it's contagious. Meanwhile, in the infirmary, O'Brien's collecting medicine to ease Kira's pregnancy, for he views it as his duty to protect and assist the new surrogate mother of his child. O'Brien declines Bashir's invitation to the holosuites, and the ensuing conversation reveals the changing dynamics of the O'Brien household, resulting in Bashir ripping his friend as the type of fellow who will look after O'Brien, mentions he helped Kira out of her bath. Later in Quark's bar, Quark is working with Grelka when Worf puts on a display to get Grelka's attention and accusing Morn out of his seat, activist apologizing to Morn, sotto voce, and insulting Thopak. Tumek pulls Worf aside and informs him that Grelka is not interested in the advances of a traitor to the Empire. However, he be excused of the transgression in Tumek's eyes because of his human upbringing, leaving him naive about Klingon mating rituals. Worf says Tumek will be surprised what he knows, and Tumek admits that might be true, but it won't be discovered here. Loudly, he proclaims Grelka's request he leave, and Worf leaves. In the USS Defiant mess hall, Worf expresses regret in his attempt earlier to Dax, but Dax excuses it, saying he is in love. She'll sense what's really bothering Worf is what Tumek said about his ignorance of Klingon women and Klingon traditions in general. Before he responds, Quark enters to talk to Dax. Grelka has invited him to a private dinner in quarters, and he is a primer on Klingon mating rituals. While there wasn't any affection when they were married, he believes now something is there. Worf Professor remains painfully aloof as Dax coaches Quark, then surprised over his insight into winning Grelka's heart. Meanwhile, with the blessings of Keiko, Miles has been giving Kira regular massages to help relieve her pain. While giving Kira massage in her bedroom, O'Brien and Kira discover they have feelings for each other when Kira makes a remark about how she wouldn't mind spending 3 weeks in Ireland with Miles. O'Brien agrees, then realizes what he said and feels guilty when Keiko walks into the room catching him giving Kira a massage. Keiko doesn't care and says, "Don't stop on my account." Alone on the bridge of the Defiant, Worf indulges in Klingon opera. Quark disturbs his privacy and proceeds to describe how his night with Grelka went. Perfectly. Worf returns accepting Franken's intrusion, and so becomes apparent that Worf is living vicariously through Quark's association with Grelka. Assume a Cyrano de Barrage-esque advisory role. Quark asks if Worf will continue helping him, and Worf agrees. They head out immediately. With Dax, Quark's execution Klingon courtship continues in the holosuites. They are fighting Klingons as chaos and forgettable and Lady Lucara in the Great Hall in Quam Chi during a significant moment in Klingon history, and a great romance between the two. Quark, however, has trouble with the Klingonese and finds the whole thing ridiculous. Worf first advises Quark that he must put himself 1,000 years in the past and immerse himself in Klingon history. Quark still finds the whole thing ridiculous, but becomes more interested in continuing after Dax tells him that after the battle, Chaos and Lorca jumped on each other like a pair of crazed Cardassian voles. Meanwhile, Odo and Kira are going through security reports, and a note expresses frustration at a frequent theft occurring. Odo believes O'Brien is at fault, so he has been working on upgrades on Upper Pylon 3 that might have prevented the theft. Kira defends him, but Odo suspects that Kira is going too far with it. Kira admits she's become like family and asks him to drop it, so Odo agrees. At Quark's, Lopok expresses his disdain for Groka's allowance of Quark's coordinated Tumek, but Tumek reminds him he should not presume to judge her. Soon, Groka and Quark arrive and, after participating in holosuite simulation with him, Groka points out to Quark that he has just acted out one of the most romantic of Klingon operas, and she pointedly and suspiciously asks him, What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts, Quark? Why do you pursue me? His answer that she is his object of great value, may be worth all the latinum in the quadrant, clinches it. The two of them are in love. All seems well until Thopok, Groka's bodyguard, becomes fed up with the offensive romance and declares they cannot work for a house where Ferengi is welcome. He challenges Quark to mortal combat. Later, Kira announces to Keiko and Miles that she's going to Bajor a few days to relax in her friend's cabin. Miles is pleased, but Keiko is shocked by this news because she's worried Kira will go into premature labor. Keiko demands Miles goes with her, and when he refuses, Keiko accuses them of fighting again and settles the debate. Miles and Kira will go to Bajor together. Now Quark is faced with the prospect of either losing Groka or dying, for he still doesn't stand a chance against a Klingon with a bat'leth. Worf again helps the Ferengi. Using a special device, Worf is able to control Quark's body movements and helps him defend himself. They test it out in holosuites and it looks successful, but Quark's physical ability does limit the effectiveness. Dax suggests he sleep, and so he goes. Worf can't believe the effort he's putting into this. Dax probes him as to why he likes her, and, in response with her commanding nature, challenges him by asking what he would do with a woman like that. She says if she was him, she would look for someone more entertaining, but Worf retorts she doesn't understand. Again in the holosuite, Groka and company wait for Quark. With a little bit of ceremony, Thomas asks what Quark is doing there, and Quark does his best to respond appropriately. Dax Worf in position to sync the device, instantly working making Quark more confident. They begin, and soon Thopok wonders aloud how he learned to fight. Quark is pleased, but then technical glitch forces Quark to stall, now without Worf's help. Dax finds the device's subtronic relay was damaged and tries to fix it. Meanwhile, Quark yells at Thopok to wait. Stalling for time, he proclaims a false Ferengi custom, the right of proclamation. Quark accepts it and lets him make a speech. After a while, the device is fixed and Quark immediately gets back to the fighting. Ultimately, Worf is now able to make Quark drop Thopok, but instead of killing him, Worf forces Quark to hand the bodyguard's bat'leth to Groka, proving his courage and sealing the deal. Groka tells Thopok his honor is satisfied and discharges him from her house. She then begins the mating ritual with Quark, and then Dax shuts off the device, leaving Worf alone. Not alone as he thinks, however, Dax, who until now has pressured him about the fact that there was nothing special about Groka, says her and Quark are on the same wavelength, and Quark can see an opportunity when it presents itself. Now she's obviously not talking about them anymore. Worf, who never has done well picking up romantic subtleties, still does not get the hint. Exasperated, Dax finally takes matters into her own hands and jumps Worf, and after a very brief burning bat'leths, ends up beginning a mating ritual of her own with him. About this time, Kira and Miles are meeting on a runabout to depart for the trip to Bajor. Before they can depart, Kira admits that the place she's going to relax is one of the most romantic sites on Bajor. On hearing this, Miles puts his foot down and says, I'm not going. They come in the corridor to tell Keiko, and Kira goes to Bajor and decides to visit Shakara in the capital instead. Miles looks in Kira's eyes and says, "It would have been nice." Kira responds that it would have been, in another life. She urges him to leave, and he does. When the two couples, Quark and Goroka and Dax and Worf, come to the infirmary with broken bones and bruises aplenty, Zem convinces Dr. Bashir that he is best off not asking how his patients receive their wounds anymore. In a private room back in the infirmary, Dax and Worf talk about what happened. Worf understands that Dax is unlikely to rush into marriage, even though tradition recommends it. They do agree, however, that they're to pursue their relationship further. Worf is uncomfortable being in a relationship with an uncertain future, but Jadzia teases him that they've established at least one thing for certain. The woman on his mind is no longer Goroka. At that, Worf throws his head back and laughs. Yeah, I'd probably laugh too if something like that happened, but hey, who knows? So, yeah. So, anyway, let's take a look at the production of this episode. This episode is a sequel to The House of Quark. This is the first television episode directed by Star Trek Deep Space Nine recurring guest star Andrew Robinson, although his character does not appear in the episode. Robinson had won 2 Los Angeles Drama Critics Circle Awards in 1995, both for directing, one for Samuel Beckett's Endgame, the other Harold Pinter's The Homecoming. He would go on to direct 2 episodes of Star Trek Voyager, Blood Fever, and Unforgettable. Armin Shimmerman did many of his own stunts during the fight scene. He practiced on for 10 days prior to shooting the scene, and according to Shimmerman, quote, "I got pretty good with the bat'leth, actually," end quote. Shimmerman also worked with a mime artist to help him make it look as if the bat'leth had a mind of its own at the end of the fight. And now let's take a look at some trivia surrounding this episode. The title is the third longest in all Star Trek's television and the longest episode in Deep Space Nine. The first is "For the World to Tell How I Touch the Sky." The second is "The Butcher's Knife Cares Not for the Lamb's Cry." The title comes from a line of the famous country song "Looking for Love," a 1980 hit for singer Johnny Lee, with the Klingon word for love instead. It used to be the one and only time that a Klingon word appears in an episode's title, for a Wejduj aired. The song itself became featured 26 years later in a latter-day Star Trek production, was performed by an unknown female singer at the end of Star Trek Strange New Worlds' first season episode, Spock Amok. Another musical reference. When Quark and Goroka are discussing a visit, he says, "War, what's it good for?" If you ask me, absolutely nothing, which is a nod to the Edwin Starr song War. When asked by Tumek, Worf says that he has never pursued a Klingon woman. However, he was once involved with Kalar, the mother of his son Alexander. Before his family was dishonored, Worf attempted to marry her. As half human, half Klingon, Kalar was not fond of Klingon tradition, so Worf likely did not court her per Klingon custom, though they did engage in the Klingon mating ritual. Tumek's line, "The challenge has been given and accepted, let no one interfere," closely resembles T'Pol's words from Amok Time. Joseph Ruskin had previously appeared as Galt in the game's Trick Salon and as Odo's Cardassian informant in Improbable Cause. He was subsequently be seen as a Sona officer in Star Trek Insurrection, as a Vulcan master in Gravity, as a Suliban doctor in Broken Bow. Phil Morris had previously appeared as an unnamed child in Miri, as Cadet Foster in Star Trek III: The Search for Spock. He was subsequently seen as a Romanticlon in Rocks and Shoals, and as John Kelly in One Small Step. According to the Star Trek Deep Space Nine companion, Morris auditioned for the role of Benjamin Sisko, but was turned down because he was too young. Carol Glofton, who plays Jake Sisko, does not appear in this episode. So overall, I think this episode is kind of interesting, and yeah, it's fine to see that Worf and Jadzia finally start their relationship in this episode, so yay! So overall, I give Looking for Parmok in All the Wrong Places 4 warp cores out of 5. But anyway, tune in as we till the next episode, nor the battle to the strong. So, until then, live long and prosper, everybody.